In the Depression of the 1930s, the Lindner family enterprise was a home delivery dairy. Times were hard, and the entire Lindner family had to pitch in. Carl, his father, and two brothers worked before school delivering milk and late into the evenings. Eventually, that meant Carl Jr., at the age of 17, had to drop out of Hughes Night School. Carl's father's vision was to open cash-and-carry dairy stores. And on May 8, 1940, his dream was realized when the first United Dairy Farmers store opened in Norwood. In the days when dairy products were still delivered to the home, the Lindner's cash-and-carry milk store was popular with customers because it offered lower prices. Milk was sold for 28 cents a gallon, and ice cream went for 17 cents a quart. Since more customers furnished their own pails and the ice cream was hand-dipped, some quarts were more generous than others. The first day's total sales were $8.28. From the start, each Lindner family member was involved in all facets of the business. Dorothy set up the bookkeeping operations. Carl directed marketing efforts and real estate acquisitions. Bob oversaw ice cream and milk production. And Rich managed the physical facilities. By 1950, there were 9 stores. When his father died in 1952, Carl Jr., along with his family, led the growth of United Dairy Farmers, which today operates more than 225 convenience stores. Carl, Bob, and Rich worked together for 40 years. Today, Rich Lindner's family operates Thriftway Food and Drug, and Bob and his family operate United Dairy Farmers. In 1953, Carl Jr. married Edith Bailey and soon began his own family. At age 36, Carl became a member of the board of directors of the Central Trust Company. He quickly saw from his director's seat that there may be more margin in handling money than in retailing milk. He felt that some of the same principles that he had been using, such as merchandising and cost accounting, had not previously been used and could be applied to banking. In 1959, Carl, Bob, and Rich established American Financial Corporation to invest in businesses away from the dairy operations. They bought 3 small savings and loans, which they combined and operated as Hunter Savings. American Financial's first major acquisition took place in 1966, when they purchased the Provident Bank. This more than doubled the size of American Financial, increasing its assets to nearly $350 million. After establishing its banking operation, AFC turned toward insurance. In 1973, they acquired Great American Insurance by purchasing its parent holding company. This acquisition increased AFC's assets to $2.3 billion. Since then, the company has continued to grow through operations and acquisitions. In 1981, American Financial became a private company again. It remains a family business, and Carl's thrilled that his 3 sons, Carl III, Craig, and Keith, are all running major parts of AFC's businesses. AFC's assets now take the form of substantial investments in other companies, such as Penn Central and Cincinnati-based Chiquita Brands International Incorporated, as well as the Charter Company, whose major holding is Spelling Entertainment. Also based in Cincinnati is Great American Communications Company, with radio and television stations in many of the nation's 50 markets. AFC also is a longtime limited partner in the Cincinnati Reds baseball franchise. And although Lindner is nationally renowned, he has shown a true love for Greater Cincinnati. He has been tremendously loyal to his early home. Starting in 1974, when he moved Great American Insurance from Los Angeles, he has moved 6 major companies to Cincinnati, including Chiquita Brands International and Penn Central. Lindner, along with his family, contributes to the Greater Cincinnati community in countless ways. For example, the family provided funding for Lindner Hall at the University of Cincinnati's Business School and for Xavier University's new physics building. Recently, the Cincinnati Zoo received a major gift in the form of the Carl H. Lindner Family Center for Reproduction of Endangered Wildlife. Major contributions have also been provided to Hebrew Union College and other religious institutions, as well as Cincinnati Hills Christian Academy, the Christ Hospital, Bethesda Hospital, Children's Hospital, and the Museum Center at Union Terminal, just to name a few. Indeed, Mr. Lindner and his family have made indelible marks on the communities and the business history of Greater Cincinnati. When Lindner was asked, with all of his business successes, what he considered his greatest accomplishment, he said, "Raising my 3 sons." What neater scenario could anyone want, having his sons come up and working together in the business? The words that Carl Lindner uses to describe what he looks for in other people may best describe who he really is. I look for people who believe in their own convictions and have the ability to stand under fire, who have the ability to see the world as others don't see it, people with the ability to motivate others, people who truly care. Carl Jr. has always been an optimist. He is a dreamer. He loves what he is doing. He says he has never worked a day in his life.